Now, government says the deaths of yet more people linked to illegal mining activity means that efforts to clamp down on illegal mining must be intensified. Of course, at least 17 people died this week from inhaling nitrate gas following a leak at the Angelo Informal settlement in Boksburg on Gauteng's East Rand. One was only 1 year old. Gas cylinders were removed from the scene, and the Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi said the leak was caused by illegal mining activity. Nitrate gas is used to extract gold from the ore. To discuss, we're joined by Mineral Resources and Energy Department spokesperson Makhosonke Buthelezi. Mr. Buthelezi, thank you for being with us. It's fine to call for efforts to be intensified, but please outline what efforts have been made by government first. Many people are asking the simple question, why can't all the entrances to these disused mine shafts simply be blocked off? Let's start there.
Thanks for the opportunity. In fact, as the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, we do have a program that looks at sealing off the entrances of the unused mines. For example, here in Gauteng, in the past 3 years, we have sealed off about 135 mines. And this financial year, we're planning to seal off about 20 mines across Gauteng. But over and above that, our laws require mining companies to, at the end of the mining operation, to seal off and rehabilitate the mines. They are required, as one of the conditions to give them a license, to set aside rehabilitation funds. They deposit them with us, and that is influenced by scoping. At that point of application, they would say, we're going to mine for 30 years, and we estimate that we're going to need 4 million, as an example, to rehabilitate where we are mining. So we do have that in law, but those that are abandoned 60 years, 100 years ago, as you know, mining in South Africa is more than 100 years, and you can't find the owners, then it is the responsibility of the department to seal them. And annually, we have a budget of 147 million to seal. We target certain areas where there's hotspots, particularly now we are focusing on here on Gauteng. So there is something that we're definitely doing as the department.
But sealing of 20 shafts, I mean, that sounds like a minute drop in the ocean. I understand it's a vast network with many entrances. Is that because you actually need billions and you have millions in the bank? Is that what you're saying? You're doing the best you can with the resources you have?
Precisely. You have about 6,000 abandoned mines across the country. And when we crunch the numbers, we need about 49 billion, in order to seal all of those mines. So with the 140 million that we get per annum, we can only do the little that we can. So that is where the problem is in terms of financial resources.
There are proposals, though, on the table, and I understand some of them come from your department. I mean, firstly, to legalize artisanal mining, and that could bring in tax revenue. If people are taking the gold, but they have to pay tax, but they're small-scale operators. There's also a proposal for a special unit within the SABC. And why are these all still proposals? Why is nothing sort of heading towards the finishing line?
So those proposals are carried in the artisanal and small-scale mining policy that was approved last year. Now, as it happens with policies, there has to be a legislative process because you need to have those, actualize those through legislation. Now, as the DMRE, we're going to review our own mineral and Petroleum Resources Development Act. We're going to do that now in July next week. That's the first start, and you need to have those elements into the act. But over and above that, currently we do fund small-scale and artisanal mining. people do apply via the current MPRDA as it is now. So we are not waiting for the repeal of the MPRDA. We are actually doing that. But as I have said, because you need to, it's not only our law that needs to be repealed. We think you also need to repeal the criminalization. In order to criminalize illegal mining, you also need to repeal other acts so that you have a fulsome and high impact in terms of all the related acts. So that will obviously take time. But in as far as DMR is concerned, next week we're going to be reviewing our MPRDA, and artisanal mining is actually happening, and people are getting mining permits. And those that approach us, we also fund them.
So in finality, you're saying stuff is happening. When will it get better? When will we see the end of deaths, of rapes, of communities living in fear, of human trafficking? I mean, the list goes on.
Well, it is difficult to say so because, as you know, generally there's a huge lawlessness in South Africa. So we need to work together collectively with the police, with the Department of Justice, to just make sure that we enforce our laws and we ramp up our efforts in fighting crime in general. So it will be very difficult to say when is exactly this is going to end. So, but we all need to act in concert so that we are able to fight this scourge of illegal mining and other forms of criminality in the country.